Do you ever get that feeling after years of putting in the work when something finally clicks? It feels amazing, right? And that's what we're going to talk about today on episode 105 of the Books by Josh audio immersion titled After All These Years, Finally Making Progress. Let's dive in. I want to talk about some progress. So, as I mentioned, I've been podcasting for a decade, writing for longer, and for the first time in a while, I feel that I'm making progress with everything. I'm saying that even though this is my first episode in a few weeks, but on the writing side, I'm getting traction. So I have put out a lot more books than I have in the past, and I've shifted genres. I'm still doing some romance, some drama, but I started doing books that are like manhwas and light novels and mangas. Why? Because I have a manga podcast titled Manga with Josh, and I kind of like reading mangas and light novels. So I decided to try my hand at it, and guess what? I actually generate income off it, and technically, I was able to pay a bill with the amount of royalties I generated for that month. They haven't paid me yet because it gets paid later on, but just being able to have a profit that can actually pay a bill for some of the tools I use is a great feeling. And that made me want to do this episode because it's disheartening. I talk about this all the time because we want instant gratification. But the main thing is when you actually see numbers, you see the lines go up for how many people are buying the book, how many Kindle Select reads you have for the Kindle Unlimited, things like that. And these books I've been publishing on Kindle Unlimited because I'm like, you know what? I don't have the biggest audience, so if anybody has Kindle Unlimited, they can read my book for free and I get paid based on how many pages they read. And like I said, it's not a huge amount. I'm not gonna just say, hey, I could pay rent with the amount of royalties I'm making. No, but I can pay bills with it, which is a nice feel. On my site, booksbyjosh.com, I don't run advertisements because I don't believe you should have to go through all these ads to read my articles, stuff like that. So this podcast, I'm not big enough to get sponsors. So the books is how I make my income, other than my other stuff. So that's was a great feeling. And the thing is, I don't know about you guys, but I get anxious at time. And these books were released this month of May, the month that just finished. And guess what? Every day I was just refreshing. I'm like, come on, read some more. Someone buy it. Because I saw attraction. And that's not a good feeling to have, but it's the truth. It's not like, hey, I'm just going to leave and forget about it. It's like Warren Buffett says, when you buy stocks, don't look at it. Just let them sit. I can't do that personally. I want to see the number go up or go down. It's just human nature to see, hey, am I making money? Am I losing money? I don't get worried with the stocks because I've been investing long enough to know, hey, it's going to go up, it's going to go down. In the long run, as long as you invest strategically, you're not going to lose it all. Unless the whole economy goes to crap. Then stocks don't matter. So with my works, it's different because it's like I put my time, energy, and wrote them, but it's like, hey, how come these people are reading this book and not that book? It makes you think. So I did sell some of my romance books, but the big hit has been my light novel esque books. I have two series on there. One is I Died and Became the Heavenly Demon, and then the Iron Fist Chronicles. Two different types of genre. Both are reincarnation type beats. One in like a adventure world with monsters, things like that, and one in the martial arts world of Murim. But these were passion projects because, like I said, I love reading manga and I have a podcast about it, so I felt the need to try it out. Same with like the romance books because I read those too. So that's what made me write that. And that's why I always say I'm not someone to stick to one genre. Just like in this podcast. One day I talk about motivation, another episode I'll talk about money, another episode I'll talk about depression. Just how I am. Because I like talk about different topics because it makes me feel me, Josh. It's my voice. And I don't know if you could tell by now, I have ADHD. So my brain is kind of scattered most of the time. But by covering all these topics and writing in the genres I want to, I get to be myself. But back to the main topic at hand. It was disheartening, putting in the efforts, putting out more content, and not seeing the right returns. I do get like views on this podcast, site hits, things like that. But as I mentioned, I don't generate any income from these, only from the book sales, hence why my site's called Books by Josh. I'm selling my books. So it was a good feeling. And now it's just see and track it to see how I do month to month. Like right now, my book that's only been out for about a week at this point of recording is already ranked in the top 400K on Amazon for the category for sales ranks, and I've never done that before. So that's why I want to talk about that, because a lot of people listening to this, or a lot of people who should be listening to this episode, might be in the same boat I am. It's not only about being a writer or podcaster, it's about in life. You might be stuck at a job, building up skills to try to take it to another job to make more money. You could be investing, dollar cost averaging, not seeing the returns yet. It all takes time. Sure, some people go viral overnight and become stars. Look at the Hawk Tour girl. They think she scammed the audience, but that's besides the point. The point is, it takes time. That's why they say it's not about timing the market, it's about time in the market. Because if you just put in the work, eventually you get rewarded. And unfortunately, sometimes that eventually is after our time. We all know about famous artists and painters who don't really get discovered until after their demise, which isn't the greatest feeling, but it does leave a legacy. And that's the one thing I believe in, you want to have something to be remembered by, an impact you made, which was my whole thing for wanting to become a writer. Because growing up, I started reading books to try to escape everything going on around me. I know it's not healthy, but that's what I did. And that was always my one dream in life. Actually, my one goal. To write something that I say, hey, maybe this can change someone's life. It's not going to be a book that make them become rich or anything like that, but it might be a book that sticks with them and makes someone want to achieve their dream. Because think about it, if we don't have dreams, we don't have goals, what are we? A robot then? And for me, that was the Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew, and I even read the biography about the person who wrote most of the original Hardy Boys, or the Ghost of the Hardy Boys. So that's the kind of impact those books had on me. They weren't the greatest writing. Sometimes I go back and read a couple or listen to an audiobook of some, and guess what? It's not the greatest writing, but it stuck with me and got me through hard times. And hey, having different genres appealing to vastly different audiences, I want to do the same. And right now, in 2026, I'm getting the reads, I'm getting the sales. Hey, I even got a review on one of my light novel-esque books. It's a star rating. They didn't write anything, but that made me feel good inside. And that's why I want to talk about it. And I want you guys to know, listen, I've been down there with you guys in the trenches, and I'm still in the trenches now. Just because I have traction doesn't mean hey, no, I'm not going to write any other books. I want these books just to be the only ones I have. No, I'm going to keep writing books that I want to write. They might not sell a single copy. They might sell 5 copies. I don't care. I want to have them because one day someone might buy that book and say, wow, this guy Josh, yeah, he wrote something that I enjoyed. That's it. One book can change someone's life. Look at certain books that lasted all the years, like The Richest Man in Babylon or Poor Charlie's Almanac by Charlie Munger. These are books that people will return to through years because the timeless information. The Art of War is so old, but we keep mentioning it. People keep reading it because the lessons are timeless. My books aren't like that, but sometimes people have a favorite book that they'll reread multiple times. Like Harry Potter, I've read Goblet of Fire when I was younger at least 7 times because the Order of Phoenix wasn't out and I had nothing to do. But still, keep your chin up. This episode is basically just here to tell you, just keep putting in the work, keep showing up, keep putting in the reps. You might not see any progress. The progress might be minuscule, but guess what? The progress you don't see might end up one day just blooming and becoming something great. Like I said, I was able to pay a bill for the month of May because of the royalties from me. And that's a great feeling. My dividends, if I didn't reinvest them, pay a lot of my bills every month. But I reinvest them because it's a dividend snowball. And that's the thing. Everything snowballs. So here's to June. Let's see if I make more or make the same. Even if I make less, guess what? I'm still happy because my work's on the hand of the readers. And that's it for this episode of the Books by Josh Audio Immersion. It's more of a open heart episode, I'm not ranting, I'm just telling you like it is, what I'm feeling right now. And if you enjoyed it, thank you. In the next episode, be something completely different. But I'll catch you guys in it. See ya.